Well, hey there, folks. It took us a minute, but we are back. A little bit more than a minute. We took our holiday respite, and then, of course, there was the new year. And then, of course, oh, well, yours truly wound up going to Washington, and we know what happened there. You know, I found myself in the middle of history. So, that was good, and I've been back obviously this past week and kind of getting back used to a normal schedule. Hey, Lopter, how are you? And hail to PJ and Ruth Korean. It's
Could
great to
we
see you guys.
before we go any further, could we please just look at Roof Korean's comment at 48 minutes past the hour? just just glance at it, please.
Oh, yes. I refuse to leave the chat until this podcast happens. I will wait here in the ether talking to myself. I don't care if Drew takes a year break. I'm not leaving. I love you, buddy. You,
We
sir,
love you, Roof Korean.
are a true friend. I love you. But yes, it's great to be back on track. It's great to have our little show back and our slice of BSG. And we are planning on bringing you a really good season of Battlestar and great discussion to go along with it. So, without further ado, we'll go around and introduce the panel. I have the lovely Raquel Briggs, my awesome co-host, my soulmate of an awesome best friend. She's just amazing, and of course, we have Culture Casino, who is AFK, but he will be back shortly. All right.
Lady Mist just walked in. Lady Mist just walked into the room. Everybody say hello to Lady Mist.
Well, hello, Lady Mist, one of my favorite people and a wonderful mod on this channel. Great to see you, Lady Mist, and man, great to see Adega, PJ.
Adega, Orville Nation. The great PJ from Orville Nation is here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so things are going good tonight. So when we last assembled, I do believe, Raquel, we left off with the first episode, Occupation. And Precipice is actually meant, I remember when it originally aired, Occupation and Precipice was kind of like one thing. So technically you weren't wrong when we left off, when you kind of continued reading ahead, because the episode was all one thing. But they broke it up now on streaming, so there's just Occupation. When you watch Occupation, then you have to watch the second part, Precipice.
Yeah, it transitions seamlessly into it at the duck scene. It transitions seamlessly on Amazon Prime. So if you're watching it on Amazon Prime, like I do, that's what happens. It's right at the duck scene, right? That's when it gives way to Occupation gives way to Precipice.
Yeah, and because I know on Peacock, and I still laugh at that, by the way, guys. That's the stupidest name ever for a streaming service.
We don't have Peacock here. I mean,
yeah,
there's no Peacock.
But I watched, the BSG stuff on Peacock for reference, because you can watch it on Peacock for free. You just sign up for a free account, you can watch it. It has ads, but they don't kill it with ads, so it is worth it. But it's weird. They don't have it. They don't have it separate. They have it separated, as opposed to the way that it originally was. So,
Jane Theory just walked in the door.
Hey, Jane, what's going on? You have a link out there, my friend, if you do want to join in. So yeah, I'm just kind of I was thrown off a little by that, but hey, we're back on track now. People know where we left
Yeah.
off. We're good. We're good to go. So, all righty. So let's get into Precipice, because obviously we had a very just absolutely sort of shocking ending to Occupation. And if you want to catch people up on the events of Occupation really quick, Raquel, go ahead, because I know it's been a little bit of time since we since we went over it. So just briefly give them the synopsis so we can catch up to the events of Precipice.
Just let me grab something here for you, because I don't want to read another 12 pages of it.
No
Just
worries.
hold on for a minute, and we'll
Sure,
just grab
no
something here.
So yeah, we have while we are getting that for you folks, we have the great Culture Casino. Looks like he's back. So CC, you excited? You happy to be back, huh? No, he did unmute himself. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize. I kept unmuting and unmuting and muting and unmuting myself. I'm sorry. I'm like, oh crap, I don't know what I'm doing. No. I have stream brain really bad, but it's good to be here. I'm really excited, and the recap's going to help me reestablish where we were. But this is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite, series of events that we're about to explore. So, the reset's going to help with that, because it's cool. This is we get into the real cool stuff for the next little bit of time here, and lots of extra characters, character development, all kinds of stuff. So I'm charged up and ready to go. I missed this so much. I'm so glad we're back doing it. So let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in the previous episode, the Cylons have now been in control of New Caprica for over 4 months. Gaius Baltar is under their collective thumb and essentially follows their orders. There is a resistance who sets off bombs and do their best to disrupt the Cylon activity. Colonel Tai is in prison, and despite extensive torture, including the loss of his eye, has told them nothing. His wife Ellen will do anything to secure his release, and is soon in a sexual relationship with one of the Cylons, John Cavill. There are mixed feelings among the survivors. Some feel the random acts of violence. This is from IMDb, and guess what? It just cut off. That's not very good. Okay, so some feel the random acts of violence against the Cylons are, counterproductive, and so the people are worried if they're helping the skin jobs too much. There's talk of trying to make peace with this, or whether or not people are collaborators. So that's what happened in the previous episode, and that all culminates in a scene where Duck, he takes his place as this police officer working for the Cylons on New Caprica, in this human police force. And Beers and a panel of skin jobs begin the ceremony, and they're pinning these new police officers. And of course, Duck blows himself up, and the whole ceremony, killing the people and the skin jobs. And so that's where we're going to pick up today.
Yeah, and it was so shocking because we kind of followed the journey of Duck through that episode where he was conflicted, then he made peace with his decision about going through with the bombing, and apparently he didn't have anything to lose, because
they took everything from him and made him feel totally hopeless. So when you take away somebody's love, their life, their whole world,
his family,
after they're already suffering from PTSD, they're essentially wandering the desert, and this is very reminiscent of human history. He had nothing to lose. This guy's life has been eviscerated, and he sees this as a good that he can do to make his mark, and also probably to relieve himself of this pain. I don't think he wants to live like this anymore.
Exactly. So, all right, let's go ahead and start us into Precipice.
Okay, so we cut to Rosalind in a cell. Gaius comes in. He brings her glasses as a peace offering. He says they don't think she's guilty, that they are imprisoning and examining many people. Gaius asks her to make a public statement to stop the insurgents. He takes her to task for all of the suicide bombings. She explains that the colonists have been violated, detained, beaten up, and tortured. They've had enough. Gaius bewilderingly denies that anyone has been tortured. He leaves her. They jab at one another over ethics as he's departing her cell, and then he finally orders her released. Any thoughts on this scene?
Oh, she was not happy to see Gaius, not at all.
No.
She was very defiant and short with him, as obviously. And hey, welcome Vigilante Williamson, the great Vigilante Williamson. Welcome Dee Dee Myers and Curtis. Great to see you, man. The chat is banging tonight. So yeah, the thing is I thought that interaction was quite expected between Rosalind, because she had, obviously at this point, she has no love lost for Gaius. If you thought she didn't before, she certainly doesn't now. And, and it shows. And Gaius tries to be flippant with her and tries to act like, she's affronting him. But yeah, we know.
Yeah. Gaius is a piece of crap. I wish SD were here to just, talk some smack about him right now.
I actually, I can see the position that Gaius is put in this situation. I mean, I thought in the show, I mean, what choice did he have? I mean, his own personal salvation or not? And, in that matter, as a leader of men, is your choice to go out and have someone else step into the leadership role with no one to represent humanity, so, I can see a lot of bad things in Gaius and I do throughout the entire series, but I'm not certain what else he could have done than to be put in the position he's in. And so, but I can understand her disdain as well. So there you are.
Yeah. Now he's an instrument for pure evil. So we cut to a bunch of human cops meeting. Cavill pulls up and the audience understands Cavill has assigned the human cops to do something. We cut to the chief signaling for the next Raptor transmission. Chief and Anders discuss the deepening food rations. Ty is there, and all three discuss the bombings, continuing on their course. Then we cut to Cavill ordering the human cops to arrest humans. Then we cut to the arrest of their fellow humans, including taking Callie from her baby. They leave her baby alone in the tent, and then the chief returns. Any thoughts on these scenes?
Well, there's a lot of things going on in this episode, and it's kind of there were a lot of really quick cuts in these scenes, but they all were leading, ultimately to this story, about the level of everybody's suffering, intolerance, and everything else that's happening. And
for sure.
I'm
just totally appalled though that they left the baby.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? These weren't Cylons doing this. These were humans doing this, and the baby's screaming and crying, and they leave the baby in a tent. I mean, it's not even it's not even a building. I was just appalled by their behavior, and I think that's sort of the authors the writers are trying to move us towards this idea of when do you stop complying and when do you become a collaborator.
Well, I think here's the thing: the minute you join your enemy, you're collaborating, right? And that's a problem. But those are decisions that these people are making, right? What's really weird is we're talking about this, on the heels of or on the cusp of something else happening, in the real world. But I look at this as as a disgusting thing, because they essentially you're abandoning their humanity simultaneously, which I guess is the point of the scene, or at least the takeaway there, because no rational human being would leave a baby alone in that precarious of a position.
Yeah.
Right. And this goes back to the thing that I always want to point out to people. I'm like, in 18 months, I would have had giant wooden structures constructed.
You brought that up before, and I love that you continually bring that up, because where's the ingenuity? Instead of just squatting there in this camp, they have the ability, and I love that you always point that out, because guys, get off your butts, build something.
I'm like, there's forestry there. There's a whole lot of stuff. You have advanced technology. They would have had an entire lumber industry, lumber mills, all kinds of stuff, to put together rudimentary, structures. And, again, I mean, you also have all the tech you can do obviously you can manufacture and refine thallium, but you can't, you can't make a steel girder. And, the buildings that were constructed were all governmental. Yeah. That's not usually how things go. You have one central gathering house in a fledgling community, but beyond that, all efforts go into having the citizenry be properly housed.
Because you can't have a shanty town. I mean,
they did.
And Root Korean brings up a good point. These episodes, they have eerie parallels to current events, and they do.
And they did at the time as well. They did at the time of the original broadcast as well, right? So
And welcome, CJ. Great to see you, CJ.
Hey, CJ.
So Canada in the house, representing strong tonight.
Lots of Canadians. I love my Canadians.
Yes. All right. So continue, Raquel.
Okay. So then we cut to the Galactica team planning the viability of their options for rescue. Chubby Bunny Lee, he's playing naysayer. The whole team is completely tired of him. Too bad they don't have Richard Simmons. Then we cut to Gaeta and the chief talking about Callie's arrest. Gaeta promises to ask about it. Chief spits that Gaeta should do something about it, and he stomps off. Then we cut to James Jammer, the human cop who led the arrests, returning to where he arrested Callie.
Oh, I hate
He's having flashbacks. He is racked with guilt. When he's nearly in a full-blown panic attack, the chief appears, asks if he's okay. Jammer pretends the human cops are trying to help. Chief calls him naive and asks if he knows anyone who is working as a cop for the Cylons. Jammer goes all shifty and says no. They talk about Gaeta being a collaborator. Chief promises to execute all the collaborators when it's all over. Any thoughts on this scene or these scenes?
Yeah, you could definitely see there's a whole lot of anger, mistrust, especially with Chief Cheryl's comment, we're going to basically execute every stinking one of the collaborators after all of this. And yeah, you can see that there's ramping up to be some fallout, and of course, in later episodes, that does pay off. But it's a really dangerous time right now, because I love how the episodes were able to convey. At least these first episodes were able to convey the palpable sense of tension, and that nervous kind of unease that was in the air. And again, hats off to the writing team, because they did convey it perfectly, because you had the perfect storm, the desperation of the people, because they weren't exactly living free, mind you. Everything, even though it wasn't quote unquote even though the humans were not prisoners, they were living like prisoners. Everything was monitored. Everything, the housing was run by Cylons. The governmental buildings were staffed and run by Cylons.
Yeah.
It was in
And there's also like the overarching theme of what's begun here, right? And that is also the fact that they're going to farm these humans out to integrate toasters and humans. So we've got cyborgs, and it's in a lot of the humans are really afraid.
Yep, Ruth Korean found the quote. We'll be there tying the knots, stringing them up. Yep,
stringing them up. Yeah, and Parrot Head just walked into the room. Can we say hello to
welcome, Parrot Head.
And great Vigilante Williamson.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's up, VW?
VW is awesome.
Thank you for coming.
Great creator, and Vigilante is up and coming in our community. Please do support him. He has a great channel. He is one of the thinkers, and he definitely does not support the narrative. He asks questions, and I am very proud of the man. So, Vigilante, keep doing what you do. You're good people, my friend. All right.
I just wanted to say thank you to Curtis as well. It's really nice of you to say that you love my synopsis. It takes me a couple hours to get these things done, so I watch, and then it's just what I'm seeing. So I'm really glad that you like it. Thank you so much.
Curtis, let me tell you from experience, this lady is amazing at what she does.
Thank you. You guys are so kind.
You get the best on here every single week because Raquel is just on point at each and every time.
And she corrals us cats when we're out wandering about. And
you guys are wonderful.
She does. Yeah.
You guys are great. Okay, so let's cut to some serious stuff here. We go to Leoben, the lover, and Kara, the perpetual skin job killer. Remember, think back to the apartment. Think of how many times she's killing Leoben, and he just keeps on saying he's going to be her lover. That's what happens in part 1. So in part 2, we cut to Leoben, the lover, and Kara, the perpetual skin job killer. Leoben says they have Kara's ovary, and he produces a toaster toddler. They've named the unit Casey. Leoben introduces Casey, the toaster toddler, to her mother, Kara. And here is where, a lot of people would be completely freaked out. Men in the audience, imagine if somebody took your sperm and made this cyborg, this half human, half robot, skin job toaster. And for ladies out there, somebody takes your ovary and makes this this child. It's not really a child. What you guys, what are your thoughts on this? Thoughts in the chat, thoughts on the panel. This is crazy.
Well, it's pretty horrifying to be.
Yeah, it is, and the thing is, and again, I don't want to spoil it for later, but to sort of parrot the old Transformers toy line tagline. There's more than meets the eye here, but yeah, the thing is with that. It's a terrifying concept, and this was another one of the things that was executed so well because it just caught people out of nowhere, and like they weren't expecting Leoben to go to that length. I was like, what? When I was watching it, I'm like, what? So yeah, it was quite interesting.
Well, and the thing is too, is for many years, I'm not in film, I'm in print, but I know that there were laws on television that you couldn't, harm a child or depict violence towards children beyond a certain age, and that's sort of been an evolving law in American film production and television production. And so for this, this is really starting to push your boundaries when you're starting to think about what can be depicted on screen, and then also about where does humanity begin and where does the robot end, and vice versa. So, are you feeling compassion, or are you able to completely shut that down? It's a really unusual circumstance, and boy, they take it to the max here.
Yeah, I want to read Ruth Korean's comment really quick. So nice seeing Katie Sackhoff in Mandalorian. I loved her instantaneously in BSG. I get uncomfortable during Crazy Kara, but I never knew why. Sackhoff plays emotional distress amazingly. Yes, she does. She's very good at it.
Yeah, she's beautiful. Apparently, a guy was on her Twitter today, and he said something about how she has a creepy smile. No, she doesn't have a creepy smile. It's just that she's not a lizard lady. She doesn't. First of all, she doesn't inject her face with a bunch of stuff that freezes all of her emotions. Katie Sackhoff can emote because she's not a plastic surgery victim. She is beautiful. She's strong. She's powerful. People believe in her as a superhero, as a powerful woman, and I think she's gorgeous. And I think it in society today takes a lot of courage to grow old gracefully. And whoever said that to her should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, Parrothead said that's a question they ask in Fallout 4. Upgaing actual unethical to take someone's genetic code without their knowledge, without their permission. Yes,
agreed.
Agreed, 100. But yeah, I loved Katie's clapback on the guy.
Oh yeah, she just smacked him down.
And we and I think we around the community were celebrating that today, because there are a lot of people, a lot of our friends and colleagues that were totally giving her a thumbs up for that one. So it
was great.
It's great to see where her career has gone, and the careers of a lot of the folks that were on that show, because man, they springboarded from BSG and ascended very quickly, and have become staples. I mean, you think Katie Sackhoff now, she is a staple actress, especially in our favorite genre in science fiction.
Yes,
and she has.
I also like her in the westerns, though, too. Right?
She was great in Longmire. Yeah,
I'm a huge Katie Sackhoff fan. I like her whole resume. I really enjoy her. I think that she is fabulous. She's strong, but extremely feminine, and just really beautiful to look at, and is a compelling actress. And I just enjoy her company and storytelling. I think she's wonderful. And
I think her and Tricia Helfer both have
Tricia Helfer's great. And how about Grace Park?
Yeah. And
who wouldn't crawl a mile in the desert to drink a teaspoon of Grace Park's bathwater? Not very few guys. I mean, the women on this show are just, they're absolutely gorgeous and just wonderfully talented people.
But yeah, Trisha's had an amazing career as well. But yeah, you think Katie Sackhoff nowadays? I mean, that's sci-fi royalty. I mean,
for sure.
She's just and she's dedicated to the genre, which is great. She does. She enjoys the genre, and I think she understands that. The fans appreciate it, especially the sci-fi people, because there's a difference with people that really enjoy and love science fiction. They tend to be like thinkers, and they're very loyal fans to the genre, whether it be Star Trek, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, anything. And when you get somebody that works in the genre so well, it's just, we love them. We love them, and she has definitely earned that spot. As,
and Katie Sackhoff, if you're listening, or if somebody points you to this channel, I just want you to know that I think your face is absolutely beautiful. Your smile is not creepy at all.
Yeah.
The way you emote with your face is so compelling for your fans, and the way that you bring characters to life on screen is something to be admired. Please don't ever change your face or turn into one of those lizard plastic surgery people. They don't look younger. They just look like lizard people. And they just look like they've had work done. I think you're gorgeous, and don't change a single darn thing, girl.
Yeah. And also really quickly, because we'll get back to our synopsis here, but I just want to point out to piggyback on what Raquel said that it's refreshing to see Trisha, Katie, Grace Park, people like that. They're among the actresses that 100% all natural folks, and they don't go and do the whole plastic surgery thing and go overboard. And that's there's something to be said for that. They're not the Hollywood weirdos. They are like the anti-weirdo, which is good.
Yeah.
So all right, please
let's get
continue.
back to it. Okay, so we cut to Galactica. It's Dee and Lee in the Pegasus CIC discussing a plan to send someone to the surface. Duala reveals it's Sharon. Fat Lee spazzes and heads to Galactica to have it out with the old man for his plan. Lee says, of course, that Sharon will betray them. Adama holds his ground. Lee chases his dad like a small dog like the small dog and the big dog on Looney Tunes. It's hard to concentrate and take his Jay Leno chin seriously. They have a heart-to-chin conversation about humanity being at stake. Adama says the mission will continue. They hug it out. Any thoughts about what's going on here? Sorry, I just had to. Lee's is so ridiculous.
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah. So then we cut to Casey, the toaster toddler. Leoben explains how they did it. Leoben says he's the father. Leoben leaves them alone. Kara wants nothing to do with it. She even says it and calls it this. She tells it so. She looks right at it. Crazy. This is essentially a rape baby robot. They raped a woman and made a robot with her sexual reproductive body parts. That's what I put in my notes. And then we go to the next scene. We cut to Rosalind meeting with Ty. She orders him to stop all suicide bombings immediately. Ty accuses her of collaborating. She slaps him hard across the face. Ty tells her off and says he's going to continue for Adama. Ty lays down the law, explains that during times of war, people in the military are ordered to die in multiple ways. He carries the guilt and the burden of those who died in fighter jets and in suicide bombings. How they die is irrelevant to the plan and reality, that they are dead. He tells her to shove her morals and naivete where the sun don't shine. Any thoughts here on this scene?
Well, one thing about just to go back, and I wanted to get CC's take on the whole thing when they find out, when they're standing at the CIC and they find out, Duala says, yeah, we're gonna put some boots on the ground, and Lee says, all right, I'll bite. What's wrong with that?
He bites everything. He doesn't want boots on the ground. He wants bacon on the ground.
And she says, well, it's who he's sending. And
TMF just walked in the room. TMF is here. Toxic Man Flu. Hi, baby.
Welcome, TMF. Great to see you. But CC, what was your take on them re-recruiting a new Sharon?
I thought it was fine. I actually thought it was about time, and I liked the call sign, the whole deal. But again, I mean, the funniest thing about it all is I still have a hard time with Fat Lee. But I mean, that's
yeah, like
just,
okay, so I know that Jane Theory is in the chat. If she is still here,
That's her man. Yeah, you
I
don't.
know.
that is her man when he is chubby. He has moved into full-on dad bod mode. He is the Pillsbury Doughly. How does Jane Theory feel about this?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, her love is greater than his girth, I would imagine.
Yeah. She is. She rides or die. She rides or dies Apollo. That's all I can say.
Yikes!
But yeah. Getting into the other part of it. One thing that you can say about Ty and the dynamic that he has with Rosalind, he does not back down from Rosalind. There's times when the old man can be sort of, I guess, clouded when it comes to Rosalind, but Ty,
he's completely in love with her, so of course he's
Simping.
gonna.
Well,
Simping.
He's simping.
but Ty just tells it like it is.
Can we please put up TMF's comment from 46 minutes past the hour?
Oh,
TMF, I'm so happy you're here. I love you. Jane just pulls on the wait, put that back up. Jane just pulls on the handles and rides that cowboy.
Well, you gotta have some handholds. Right?
Save a horse, ride a cowboy.
Surgeons haven't come up with surgery.
Oh boy, that was pretty cute, actually.
Oh man, I love this chat. The best chat on YouTube. All right, but yeah, that was my point though. Ty just tells her like it is, and he's brutally, honest with her, and he's not impressed by Rosalind, and he usually isn't. They're very standoffish. I think there's only once or twice in the entirety of the series.
Well, I think that they're doing that on purpose, though, because they're trying to show that Ty is against bureaucracy. And I think this is also one of the reasons why he didn't like being in charge, is because he spent a lifetime watching people die, and he spent a lifetime having these people pull his strings and tell him what to do. And they never have to suffer the consequences from it. So I see it as ingrained in his character. His character is just like, take your bureaucracy, shove it up your butt. Here I am down in the muck and the sludge, and I'm the one who has to make it happen, right?
Nice. Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
All right. Rip Korean says, having served in the military, I had a hard time justifying Saul Ty. To me, he was just like the men overseas that strap bombs on their kids. Yeah, you can make the observation and the argument for that as well, Rip Korean. I can understand that point of view on his character, especially now.
Well, it's not just his character, right? Like Roof Korean is getting into his rhetoric, because when he starts his little paragraph where he starts saying, why does it matter how they die if they're dying for their country, if they're dying for their cause? So in that, I think what Roof Korean is saying is a little bit more profound than just, against Saul's character. This is also creating a dialogue in the viewership, a dialogue with the audience about where they think that those boundaries begin and end. There are a lot of boundaries in this show where it's trying to stretch maybe what you believe or what you think you believe or what you agree with or maybe what you don't agree with, and it's trying to start that dialogue, and it's a painful dialogue. This isn't a dialogue that comes up to you and offers you a cognac and a cigarette. This is a dialogue that walks up to you and scratches you across the face.
Yeah.
And you can turn into eyeliner Kirk, and or you can think it through, but there's some weighty stuff going on here. There's a weighty discussion on the table. I appreciate that comment, Riv Korean. I really appreciate that comment.
And I think and I want both of you guys to kind of comment on this. I think that given the setting and all the events that are unfolding right now, you can clearly see that, not just Ty, but all the people, Anders and all the various people on the ground are very just, obviously the anger is palpable, but you could see that, that they're bitter, that they're, it's brought out every primal negative that we have as human beings, because when you're backed in the corner and feel as if you have nothing to lose, if you're in this sort of situation that they're in, from their perspective, that's unfortunately brought all the negative out, and you can see that they're willing to do anything. And that is, it is a very weighty thing. And hey, Tom, welcome. Great to see you in the chat. Thank you.
Welcome. It's so nice of you to stop in.
All right. But for Duck, I could also understand, because to Duck, there was no hope and they took his wife from him.
Yeah.
Ronald D was brilliant, because this really gets me to think and see all sides.
Yeah, when you tear somebody's soul apart, you just eviscerate their life and their soul. That person just becomes a bomb, literally and figuratively. So I totally get what happened to Duck. It wasn't hard to push him over the edge, right?
Yeah. Talk says he compares himself to Ty. I got one job, and that's killing. I drink one thing, and that's cheap whiskey. My intelligence is limited, and I've been emotionally horsewhipped by women. Yeah, I can understand that, man. If that's who you identify with, Tox, I get it. And there's some people that could identify with that situation. Yeah, absolutely.
I like the misspelling of cheap.
Yeah,
instead of cheap. It's like cheap from a bird. Just love that. That's just great. It's cheap whiskey. It's bird whiskey.
We actually, if you go back to the archives, we do have an episode with Tom on the panel. And he really, he is not lying. He says, I've been on the show and had no clue what I was talking about.
Yeah, but he was also a total gentleman and did a whole bunch of crazy, amazing voices and impersonations, and was just a card. He's like, I don't know. He's like the Sammy Davis Jr. of the StreamYard. He can sing, he can dance. Is there anything that Tom can't do? And he really is a great entertainer. So I'm so happy that he came on with us. He was fabulous.
And Tom and Andre and all the folks over at Midnight's Edge, what they do on that channel, they are so thought-provoking as far as the
hysterical. They're hysterical. Tom is probably one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Yeah, and they keep what's going on in pop culture and the current events. They are essentially the video version of what we do in print with Bounding, and they do, and sometimes they even are first on the scene and scoop it, a lot of times. So
they were in the Independent in the UK. Are you aware of that? I picked up that paper and I sent it to Tom right away. And I said, Midnight's Edge, you guys are in the Independent, which is an international newspaper. So I sent that along to Tom. So really proud of him.
If you're not subbed to Midnight's Edge, you're definitely missing out on a lot, because
I follow Tom around all the time, especially when I have a lot of time. It's all of everything that he's doing is hysterical and it's fun. And right now I'm a nerd. Okay. Everybody at home. I'm not a geek. I'm a nerd. So I'm not into the whole Cobra Kai, Karate Kid thing. So I've been radio silent for a little while because, usually I follow Tom around everywhere, whatever he's talking about. And he knows so many inside things about film and Hollywood and production. He's just, I learn something from him every time I watch one of his panels. And as I said, he's also hysterical. So tune in to Tom.
Oh, wow. Tom is flirting with you. I like it.
Well, that's okay. I don't mind at all. I love him.
All right. So let's go on to the next part of our synopsis here.
Yeah, so we've got a few scenes. Like Cece was saying earlier, there are lots of rapid cuts in this one to keep the plot moving along. So we cut to Jammer asking to speak with War Hero 8, and that's Boomer, right? He asks her to release Callie. Then we cut to Kara and her rape robot. Kara hides in the bathroom. She doesn't know what to do. She hears a noise. She comes out of the washroom to find the rape robot on the stairs in a puddle of blood. And this is what I'm saying to you folks at home. This is where the rubber hits the road. You have to say to yourself, what's happening here? Is this a human child? Is this a cyborg? Is this a robot? What is this? And should we compassionate this this abomination, or should we reject it? And it's really, really sad at that point, especially to see the baby robot, the toaster toddler in a puddle of blood. It's horrible. Then we cut to Casey in the hospital with Kara and Leoben at her side, and it's super gross. Then we cut to War Hero 8, which is Boomer, visiting Callie in the Cylon Clink. Callie says she wishes she could shoot her. Boomer 8 brings up her relationship with Chief, how they talked about having a family. Why does she do that stuff? Callie stands up to wail on her, but stops to say that unless Boomer 8 can get her out of there, to frack off. They cut to a group of people passing a checkpoint. They pull guns and blow themselves and the Cylons to bits. Any thoughts on these scenes, or should we keep on trucking?
Well, I'm just, again, we're at another, suicide bomber kind of thing that it always makes me uncomfortable, just like most of the people have expressed in the, in our chat. I understand that, people feel like they've reached the end of, their wits, but that's just not the way to go about it. And as we know, I mean, the Cylons can, keep continually, replenishing themselves. And so really it's not, you're not succeeding at the attrition that you're shooting for in circumstances.
Yeah. So. It's funny you should say that, because that's exactly what I thought. It's just like, this is so pointless, because unless they blow that resurrection ship, they're just diminishing their own numbers and punishing themselves. And the fact that these are basically, like, for lack of a better way to describe it, inanimate objects, and that they're blowing themselves up over these inanimate objects. And of course they're inanimate. Well, that's not what I'm getting at. It's that the fact that it's a simulacrum, it's a robot, it's a skin job, and that line is starting to blur now, right? So it's, I agree with you. Why are you blowing yourself up if the resurrection ship's just going to bring more and more and more of them? I literally fanatically love the progressive 70s songs. Works for me. Very. I love you, Tom was asking up above, rape robot. Yeah, they stole her ovary, and now I believe they're going to actually start to collect sperm from men. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to create something really strange here, Tom. It's like, it's not a robot, and so it's not a skin job, but it's not a person. They found some way to integrate DNA and these skin jobs. So they took Kara's ovary and they made a baby with the Leoben robot, the skin job. And that's what this toaster tot is. We don't even know if they're even telling the truth at this point. So they're basically raping these humans. They're sticking them in farms and taking their sexual organs and their sexual juices and shoving them inside of Cylons or inside of skin jobs. And they're trying to sort of bring all of these races together, and it's really super creepy.
Yeah, I wonder. Hey, CC. I wonder if most of our government aren't skin jobs.
Well, I actually would equate them closer to the Series V.
Yeah,
but, hey,
exactly. All right.
Yeah, I was thinking Invasion of the Body Snatchers at that point. Well. Yeah, so you know what I mean? You just feel really weird. Like, where are the pods? Can we just go shoot at some pods?
People.
By the way, really quickly, the shout out to the original V, because
Yeah.
I love the Beastmaster guy, Mark Singer, and man, I love the chick that played one of the leaders for the reptilian people, Diana. Man, the chick that played Diana, whoo, Fox, baby. Fox. That was back in the 80s, boy.
Yeah.
Fox.
Hey, could we put up the comment made by Up Gang Actual at 58 minutes past the hour? What a cool turn of the phrase there. Code rape. Yeah, what's going on with that? We've got all this DNA and we've got all this code, and we're mixing it together, and we're trying to blur the lines between humanity, cyborgs, and robots. It's really crazy. Sexual. Well, I do my best.
Oh, this chat. It's on fire today. I love it. I love it. All right. Go ahead, Raquel, please continue.
Okay, so we cut to the Council of Skin Jobs discussing the losses and damages. They vote for stronger measures. They order mass executions on Gaius's orders. Gaius refuses. They threaten to execute him. They shoot Original Gangster 6 in the head, which is, of course, if you follow Battlestar Galactica, this is huge, because the skin jobs don't kill one another. They have no murder up to this point. And then they put the gun back on Gaius. He hesitates, but he signs. And of course, he's bawling as usual because, he's a little demon. Then we cut to Adama deputizing Sharon as an officer in the fleet. She's in a uniform. After the ceremony, she and Hilo kiss, and they talk honor and in uniform and in service.
Symbolism and things like that. Yeah, I thought that was a very good scene. It was kind of nice to see Grace Park, getting a chance to come back on the side of the Colonials and play as now Asina, who and she's now officially a lieutenant in the Colonial Fleet. And I thought that was good, because there's definitely a distinction, folks. She's not Boomer.
No.
She is definitely a different woman entirely. She is all about duty and honor and upholding her vow.
And it's clear that she has autonomy too, right, folks? Like the other boomers that we've formed a relationship with, there was always this feeling that she may betray us. She may betray humanity. And this particular unit, that doesn't seem to be the case. This unit is not falling back on its programming. It doesn't glitch to programming. This skin job is fully committed to being a compassionate, benevolent, gentle, humanist sort of type of robot and or human. And it's just this unit is what is helping to blur the lines on our humanity and what we consider to be fully human or not.
True.
Yeah. And again, the actresses and actors that had to go and play dual roles because of being both a human and Cylon character, they pulled it off so well, especially when there were multiples. Trisha Helfer did it with all the different 6 models, because they all had distinct different personalities
and even different visages. They have this countenance that completely changes the way that they behave. Their shoulders are in a different place. Their mannerisms seemed tweaked. This is some of the best acting I've ever seen on screen, and it's so underrated. Like, this is Oscar type of performances. If you watch this series and you watch the way that the different units have distinct personalities, it'll blow your mind, because there are times where you're watching it and you're actually like, oh my God, that's not original Gangster 6. That's the other one. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you just, because you can tell by the countenance, by the gait, by the way that the unit is carrying itself. And this is only because of these incredible actresses.
Yeah, Grace Park and Trisha Helfer both. Yeah, they did amazing jobs with that.
Yep. Yeah, I was often blown away. And then you think about how many different Cylons Grace Park had to play. It was so, her performances as each of them were identifiable. It was absolutely. It was amazing, and she did such a great job. And you or the audience could tell which was which, like you were mentioning, Raquel. And I mean, during the course of the season, I was often like, oh wait, that's original 6. That's
it's trippy, isn't it? When it happens to you, it's like it's so trippy because it's very immersive, isn't it, Cece?
Yeah.
You're like, what the heck's happening in my brain?
Yeah, no, but you're not wrong. I mean, their gaits are different. The way they perform each character. I mean, how they comport themselves is very different. It's really cool.
Well, and Ruth Korean also, in regards to character, he conveys what a lot of the audience felt right here, where he said, I really had the feeling that the way Edward James almost acted, that if the Admiral trusts Athena, well, then you as the viewer, the audience, I can open up myself to trusting her character as well and root for her. And
that is a 100% good comment right there.
Great observation. Yeah.
Isn't it? Because you trust the old man so much that if she's passed his sniff test, then it's okay. It's everything's going to be all right. What a great comment. That's exactly how I felt. I felt as though she had been vetted through the old man, and the old man is the steadfast character that I never lose trust in throughout the entire series. He is my barometer. He is my guide. He's I just trust everything he thinks and says.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why that worked so well. All right. Go ahead, continue, Raquel.
Just wait. Can we please put up the comment from TMF at 4 minutes past the hour? I had a boxy theory concerning robot rape, and a glory hole. But I will not, out of respect for Ms. Briggs.
And here we go with a boxy theory, right on cue.
Go ahead and read that, Cece, in your glorious, sexy radio voice, please.
Yeah.
Did we lose Cece?
I was muted. Dang it. Stupid freaking microphone. Sorry. I was halfway through it. Boxy theory. Stardate 123-45-67.8. Hiding from the roving toaster rape gangs, Boxy was lost for days after hiding in Apollo's dad bod love handles.
Oh my God. Can we just leave that? Can we leave that up all night? That is like the best comment ever. Get out of TMF's mind. That is the best comment ever. I love it. Got a little Star Trek in there.
Yeah. Well, TMF brings up another good point though. Going to your point, Raquel, was there ever a point in the show that we lost trust in Adama? No, he was the rock that held everything together. Yeah, exactly. And that goes without saying. You get that feeling as a viewer when you're watching, because pretty significantly early on you earn that sort of you get that trust bond with the Adama character, and that's one thing that doesn't waver.
Yeah.
I think there were two points in the show where your confidence in him may have wavered, but never whether or not he was in command.
Yes. or wasn't trying to do the right thing. Like, he's the most accessible. He's like, I feel like he's the litmus test, right?
Exactly. He lent the most credibility to the show because of his performance as, a stoic military man, primarily, superficially on the outside from the very beginning. But, even afterwards, he even admonished himself for being a soft touch at a certain point in the show. There's a lot of depth to his character, but he was always probably the most consistent of any of the, humans, I should say.
Well, and his performance is incredibly compelling, so I don't want to detract from that in any way. But I was, when I was a teenager watching Miami Vice, I seriously thought that he may be the coolest person ever born.
Oh, he was awesome as the commander, the precinct commander. Yeah, he was great.
Castillo.
Yeah.
Fat Steven Seagal beat up Ryan Johnson 10 minutes after the hour. I just realized his stream is called The Pap.
Damn right.
Get a pap here, otherwise you're going to wind up with a toaster tot.
There you go. There you go.
Nice.
Get up in those stirrups, Fat Steven Seagal.
Wow.
All right. Go ahead. Continue.
All right. So we cut to the hangar deck. Adama and Sharon. She asks about trust. He explains that trust is always a risk, and he wishes her good hunting. Just absolutely love that moment. He's such a fatherly figure, and he's just amazing. I would go to war for that man. He's sensational. Then we cut to Ellen and Cavill post nasty bumping. She still has a swollen face, but Cavill compliments her on her pelvic swirl. Cavill asks about the colonel. He confronts her on Saul's activities. He threatens her to become an informant or they'll kill Ty. Then we cut to Ty, Anders, and the chief talking about the rescue, that Sharon is their contact. The colonel is incredulous. Chief tells him about her becoming an officer, just as Ellen approaches the tent. Ellen sits in on their plans. She has access to all the info and maps. She's supposed to burn them for Saul, but pockets them secretly for Cavill. We cut to Gaeta confronting Gaius about the mass execution order of 200 plus people. He says he's powerless. We cut to the human cops rounding up those on the death warrants. 2 people appear in balaclavas for Rosalind. We cut to Beers and the Boomer unit talking about killing Galen. Boomer wants Callie killed and the chief saved. Beers swats her down verbally. Beers leaves. Callie and Boomer have a stare down. They're all on the back of a truck. Zarek is loaded on and has a chat with Rosalind about the collaborators. Any thoughts up to this point? Oh, okay. Well, I lost the guy, so I'll just keep going. So then we cut to the Resistance Corps trying to meet up with Hilo Sharon's SAR team. They cannot, or they connect at the river. Then we cut to the Death Squad jeeps. Then we cut to Kara praying for the robot child. Kara holds Leoben's hand. I dry heave. The Death Squad jeeps stop on Cavill's order. Tom and Rosalind talk about the faked ballots in the election. Then we cut to the Resistance Corps being ambushed by Cylons. Then we cut to Jammer pulling Callie aside to free her. Callie takes off. The roadside Centurion Death Squad appears. We cut to Callie and the sound of rapid gunfire. The credits roll. And that's the episode, folks.
In that series of cuts that you just went through, I mean, that the tension just built and built and built as everything kind of played out. And you saw, I mean, everybody in the audience saw what was coming, right? And it's not uncommon, when you are in the midst of a takedown of a former government to kind of do this to the former leadership of whatever that government was. And it gives people, in the perception of the people that are intellectually challenged, it gives the perception that you've shed the old ways, except that it really ingrains some real anger and animosity towards the new government when you eliminate leaders in this fashion. But obviously nobody here ever paid attention to any of that. But it was quite interesting that all panned out and how quickly it was done. But like I said, it was very effective at building tension and leading you to the conclusion. It was very good storytelling.
Yeah, I thought it was great too. There's something to be said too, in this method of killing. And when you're telling a story in this way, not only because of human history and how these death squads were used in real life, this is not in fiction insofar as it's torn from the pages of our history, but it's also the dehumanizing element of it, and it tells you a lot about the enemy or the villain of the story at hand. And of course, gunning down civilians who've committed no crimes, and gunning them down so mercilessly, without even so much as a hood on their face. It's just, it's unbelievable. It allows the audience to completely loathe Cavill at this point and realize that he's really off the rails far more than the other skin jobs.
Well, what's interesting is he always pretends to have a superior intellect, and at every turn, he's outmatched by, the plain, simple humans, that they get the better of him in nearly every way. So,
well, yeah, he also manipulates the other skin jobs, though,
Yep.
too, because he pretends to be into this monotheism. He rejects the pantheon of gods,
Yeah.
and he says outright 2 episodes ago, I believe it is, that he is an atheist. He's
Yeah.
not even agnostic; he's an atheist. So he's moving people in like pawns on a chessboard, and he's getting people to the places where they have to be, so that he's able to be far more psychotic than I think the skin jobs would allow him to do otherwise. Yeah. This is actually happening, folks. Why didn't you read that out? I mean, you should read that out. Whenever you marquee, you should read it out.
I was too busy laughing. Hey, Pat Steven Seagal, don't you dare smear the Pap stream.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh man, updating actual great comment. Brother Oedipus, excuse me, Brother Campbell, love the swirl.
No kidding.
Oh man.
Roof Koreans put up a comment at 16 minutes past the hour.
Let's see. Yep, I was done with Cavill at this point. I would have loved to watch a whole episode of him dying in different ways.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. I love that comment, because this is not only ripped from the pages of human history, so we loathe this type of public execution, especially of civilians. But it seems as though Ronald D. Moore has, integrated several megalomaniacs and psychopaths and sociopaths, and just put them all, he just jammed them all in Cavill. And so, yeah, at this point, you just want to see horrible things happen to him. But then, of course, he has the resurrection ship, so he'll be back. It's not a quantum leap.
Wow. Well done.
Sorry.
I see what you did there. Mm-hmm. You.
Sorry about that.
All right. Go ahead. Let's continue.
Well, that was it. She wrapped the episode, bro. Yeah. The Death Squad was it. Where Callie's running away from the murder squad. From the metal guys that are there to kill everybody, and the meeting that is taking place, far afield at the meeting of the convergence of the rivers, and it's very, like I said, I mean, it very much sets up the next episode. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, I mean, we're walking into the events that I really think kicked off this season in a way that I just found incredibly satisfying. So I did not like the first episode. I just, it wasn't something I enjoyed because, I see too much of the world in that, and that, and of course I see a lot of the world in this as well. But I just, this was just kind of the building to the next episode, which I think is going to give everybody a little bit of a jump. So.
Yeah.
Extremely disappointing that Michael Hogan didn't win an award for best performance of an eye.
Yeah. I think actually
man.
that I think actually too that was used to a pretty good effect when Ellen pitches everything into the fire bin, like the fire barrel. He doesn't see because, of course, he can't really see her out of the corner of his eye. No, can he?
Well,
Sorry.
Toxic Man Flu with one of the great points of the stream
I know
tonight.
Sci-Fi Nation. I was like that upset me too, but it'll be okay now.
I was being. You know what? Whatever.
What I hated Cavill for was not what he did, but what he made me do want to kill him. He took me to the point where I had to face my own limitations of humanity, and that's what was so good about the performance of Cavill in oh hell, what's the name of the actor culture that's playing Cavill?
Oh my gosh, no, don't do that to me on a stream. I have been streaming now for like 6 straight hours. My brain's totally mush.
You have stream brain, do you?
Yeah, I have boomer brain. I can't.
I mean, well, she just did the thing from
the guy from Quantum Leap.
To tell you the truth, I always forget his name, and
we're all doing it.
It's okay. It's okay because I also mix up the parks, right? Because you have Grace Park and then you have Linda Park. So whenever I'm on a stream and I'm talking about Linda Park, then I'm like, oh, is that Linda or is that Grace? So sometimes we get these names mixed up.
Hey,
I was never a big Quantum Leap fan. My stepdad was. I'm just looking for the name now.
Dean Stockwell, but
Dean Stockwell, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, my brain is just don't do that to me. And I've got another 3 hours to go.
Yep,
Thursday's my busy day.
Toxic had our back paired head and up gang. They all answered.
Not everybody liked Quantum Leap though. Like there's a big division amongst geeks and nerds about the whole Quantum Leap thing. Some people are totally into the Quantum Leap and some people aren't.
Well,
some of the shows had fishy science and some of them didn't.
Well, that's what you get though with the fringe 80 show because Quantum Leap was iffy, but it was entertaining. And Dean Stockwell, he did wind up being the perfect casting for the Cavill character, and he portrayed it in such a way that I mean, the presence that he had was second to none. Like just the way you just grew to hate the guy, and it was just
you hate him with a passion.
So
but CC, quite a bit about what goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood. What is he like in real life? Because I've heard through numerous interviews that the kindest people usually play the best villains because they enjoy it because of the absurdity and the escapism of it. So judging by how psychotic Cavill is on screen, he must be one heck of a nice guy.
Unfortunately I don't have any anecdotes to exchange. I do have some for Bakula, but no, he, I couldn't imagine any other way. I mean, everything that he's represented in by his peers is that he's a very, very nice person. Usually when you're queried, you try not to say bad things about the people that you're with. You are very diplomatic, and most people, when you see interviews about him or by fellow actors, they don't even have. There's no. You can tell there's no. They're not pretending. They're being genuine when they're diffusively.
Yes, I've heard that. I've heard that when they sit in those interviews and they say nice, they just mean that everything.
That's right. I can tolerate this.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But when he's actually a cool guy, they get a little excited. Their shoulders raise, and they give a really great story. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's why so much was called into question about our favorite Marvel character, Captain Marvel. Right? Is the people that worked with her they didn't necessarily seem real thrilled to be doing interviews with her. That's always a funny thing to talk about, but but you can get the gist from that. But no, I mean, Dean Stockwell, like I said, I don't have anything anecdotal that I can exchange. So
Yeah,
it wouldn't
that's a
surprise
shame.
me.
That's a shame.
Sci-Fi Nation, definitely. We'll talk about that. We'll definitely do something down the road here.
Ooh, a debate? What are you debating? I'm excited.
Ruth Korean's got a good comment too. Can we marquee that before we go as well, please?
A little bit of trivia from Ruth Korean here in the pilot. So go back to 33, I believe, or was it the miniseries? One of the two. They didn't think it was going to take off, and Edward James almost noticed that the crew was a bit down. During the funeral scene, when he says, "So say we all," and repeats, the whole take was spontaneous. And yes.
I love that you're telling me that, because Edward is my hero, and I love that you're telling me that.
If that's a legit story, and I have no reason to doubt it, Ruth Korean, it speaks to his greatness and an understanding of the cast and crew around him. I mean, the veterans in the industry, the people that are good at their job, the ones that have been doing it for so long, they have a feel for the cast and crew. They know what morale's like, and obviously, if he did that, that would have been truly amazing. So.
Yes, that would be a magical moment, and definitely in keeping with his personality. And that's a great story. I hope it's true. I hope it's true.
Yeah, his interviews are fantastic. Is anything you ever see him in, any post-credit documentary on anything that he's been in, he's good at that. It's nice people can play the best Helens. I can only be cast as a nun. Oh wow.
or an angel.
Or an angel? All right.
You're pushing it now, Tim.
Yeah. No, I would love to play a villain sometime. I think it would be a lot of fun. I actually can't even cast myself in my own horror western that I'm writing. So
I want to play a Casanova.
Okay. Well, if you can't get down in real life, if you can't get down in real life, you want to get down on screen, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of people watching. Okay.
I think that's called porn.
Yeah, prawn. Yeah. Now he went from the pap stream to the fap stream. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
Well, as long as you do all your fluffing off camera, I'm okay.
Now you have somebody. I don't even want to go there, guys.
Sci-Fi Nation says Edward James almost had a one-show role in Hill Street Blues. Played Selena's dad in the movie Selena. Yes, he did. A very good role. He also played in a very, very good movie concerning education called Stand and Deliver.
Stand and Deliver.
If you haven't seen Stand and Deliver, I highly suggest watching that movie. It's just a very good intellectual movie.
Well, you mentioned Castillo in Miami Vice, and I mean, he's always looked the same. I don't know that he's ever changed. He got a little girthier, little rounder, rotund, but I don't know that he's ever changed.
I love you, Parrot Head.
What did Parrot Head do?
I just love Parrot Head. He makes my heart smile.
Raquel would be great as a hot nerd. Not much acting required.
I love you, honey. You're the sweetest.
Well, I don't know that I would say that he's probably not wrong, but hey,
he's not.
I love you guys.
He's definitely not wrong. All right, so really quickly, next week we are going to do part 3, which is Exodus Part 1. The thing is about these first 4 episodes of the season, really, like two-parters in a row, but they could all actually, if they were, if you ran them together, they could all actually be a season opening movie, really, because the first 4 episodes really kind of run together, and that's and that I think is just from the extent of all the material that they had to begin the season with. So breaking it up was hard, but because I could see that it was rather difficult to break it all up, because it would have functioned as a 2 or almost 3 hour movie, really.
Yeah, but there's a lot to accomplish here.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is totally true. There's a lot of ground to cover in these first 4 episodes. So yeah, lots of stuff to come, folks.
But the action and adventure is going to sort of ramp up in Exodus Part 1, and of course, really sort of culminate and come to a head in Exodus Part 2. We will cover Exodus Part 1 next week, and can't wait to see you folks back here for that. As far as this episode, I would give this probably... because Occupation and Precipice, I still consider it like one thing, and I would give it overall probably a 7.5, only because for me there's a lot more exposition and not a lot of action. I'm more of an action guy, but the exposition was on point. Everything was on point. It was compelling. But I'm just more, as a viewer, I'm more of a lover of the action, and it can be argued that it in a number of spots, because of all the exposition and character development, it's a bit of a slow burn on these first 2, and that's fine, because I understand what they were setting up. So. On a whole, Occupation and Precipice for me, probably a 7.5. If I had to rate them broken up, it would be probably a 7 and an 8. So,
yeah, for me, I really like the psychological setup. Also because I study communications and technology, and I'm an author myself. I'm very intrigued by the idea of synthetic life forms, and human rights, and coming in and out of that law. So for me, I actually really loved all of this setup. It felt really good to me. It was asking lots of cerebral questions, and those questions are going to be carried into the action, and we're going to see the results of it. So I'm going to give it a much higher mark. I'm going to give this episode a 9, because I think it's very important that human beings, this isn't science fiction. What you're actually watching is science future. And some of my short stories get into this topic as well. We're going to be facing this in the not so distant future, folks. This, like I said again, this isn't science fiction. This is science future. So these ideas that were unpacked in this episode, I think are vital to the dialogue as we go forward as a society, as humanity. So this is a solid 9 for me.
Rick Korean says, remember, folks, BSG did the holdo maneuver first and better than TLJ.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Except they had a crew full of people on their holdo maneuver. But yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Culture. Take it away. What was
all right? So I'm very close to what Raquel is saying here, although I give it an 8.5. Under my new star rating system, it would be like 4.25 stars, because I only do 5 stars. But 4.25 stars would be what it would get. But I just don't. Like I said, there were some elements in it that were just a little off, but for the most part, like I said during our commentary, very compelling storytelling. The quick cuts were utilized effectively in this and not overdone in order to build tension and convey the anxiety that they wanted you to feel. I mean, it delivered in every way. Some of the camera work was a little iffy, and that's why I ding it. I don't ding it for any performance by anybody on screen. Like I said, I mean, overall it was really well done. The Leoben stuff just still, it got a little bit annoying to me, but I mean that
Leoben is Jack in The Shining. Okay?
Yeah,
I think they were trying to go for that.
Yeah, it just factors in reverse for me, because of the previous episode and all that. So, but
Yeah.
but like you said, 8.5. If we're doing out of 10, I'd say 8.5. It could have earned a 9, like I said. If there was like I said, but that's purely critical of the process, not of any, like I said, any performance. Because based on performances, I mean, this was easily a 9.
I really hope that people at home realize that sometimes when we're laughing, when other people are talking, it has nothing to do with what they're saying, and we totally respect and love one another on these streams. The thing is that when we love our chat around here. We don't ignore our chat. So when our chat goes off the rails and says something completely crazy, we all start giggling. So at 33 minutes past the hour, Parrot Head, could we please marquee that?
Yeah, hold on there.
Okay, so Drew's measuring system: rock hard, semi, and limp. And then we have Sci-Fi Nation come in at 34 minutes past the hour, and don't forget shrinkage.
That's great. I do want to shout out to TMF as well for being a great a mod and helping me out in here.
TMF's the best.
He did point out earlier that Jesus, I lost it. Boy, I'm just having a boomer moment tonight. But he did point out that yes, this channel is not monetized. I don't know if I'll ever be monetized. I'm just doing my best here. The channel is growing organically, but listen, obviously we don't have access to super chats or anything. If you want to help keep the lights on, obviously people know the situation. Also with taking care of my mom full time and the trials and tribulations that she's going through medically.
Yeah.
You can help with this here. We do have a PayPal available, and that's basically how you can support the channel and sort of super chat here without having super chat. So it's always appreciated, never expected. The bottom line is I am just happy to have you folks here and participating and enjoying the content. And I am looking forward to continually putting out good content and really enhancing and growing this channel in the as the weeks and days go by this year. So, thank you again for your support, and we will definitely have a fun episode for you again next week when we get together on Thursday. But for now, I'll go ahead and we'll let these wonderful folks plug their projects, talk about themselves, because they deserve the spotlight, because Culture and Raquel do such a wonderful job. All right, so Raquel.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank CC and Supreme Heretic Drew Taylor for having me here tonight. I'd also like to thank everyone in the chat who showed up and brought us into their living rooms and made the chat really fun tonight. And I'm happy that you all enjoyed it. And I hope I'll see you again. My name is R.M. Briggs, and you can find my published nonfiction list at academia.edu. That's all textbook stuff, though. You can find my science fiction at R.M. Briggs at amazon.com or on your Kindle device or app under R.M. Briggs. I'm also on Clobbering Times on Saturday nights. We do Saturday night Star Trek. So, and that's about it.
All righty, Culture Casino.
Hey guys, Culture Casino here. Just saying thank you very much to Drew and Raquel for a very entertaining evening. As always, I love doing these streams. I enjoy this television program so much so that, as I've told on this very panel many times, I watch this thing at least once a year from beginning to end, and it just pointing out the same mistakes, it seems like, and the same things every time I go through it myself. But all in all, I enjoyed it so much that I'm happy to do this every single week on Thursday at the same time, same bat channel with the same mostly the same great group of people. We're missing a few people, but
Yeah.
it's the folks in the chat. It's everybody out there that truly make this worthwhile. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you again next Thursday, I hope. And on that note, Drew, thank you.
I love TMF's comment on 838. The man, the myth, the hair, Culture Casino.
Yes, absolutely.
And I forgot to thank the mods. Thanks everybody who modded.
Oh yeah, we got
thanks to Toxic, thanks to Lady Mist, thanks to PJ Orville Nation, I believe. Everybody that was in here keeping an eye on things and making the show flow so well behind the scenes. We appreciate that, and you guys are wonderful friends. All those of you in chat are wonderful friends. I love this community, and thank you so much for hanging out with us, contributing, and thank you for your support. All right, folks, we will see you next week. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other.
So say we all.
So say we all.